And welcome back to The Mix. Delightful chat ensuing now with actress Laura Dern, a true child of Hollywood. Your father, Bruce Dern, and your mother is Diane Ladd, in fact, who is in this movie again.
Yes, that's right.
She has a relationship with David Lynch, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I had nothing to do with the call both times. On Wild at Heart, he called her up and asked her to be in the film, and same with this. So he's an admirer of hers, and they have their own relationship, which is cool.
Is there a line when it comes to acting that you don't cross as mother-daughter? Is she a coach for you? What's your relationship? What have you learned from her in terms of your career?
Well, I think the line that we don't cross is she's never been a coach. She's always, both parents have always been somewhat removed from advising me, although I have called them to say, should I do this job? About decision making, they've been wonderfully generous. But in terms of what they've offered me, and as a parallel to working with David Lynch, I think one of the greatest gifts they gave me is that they, you know, I was a product of the 70s. I watched my parents working with Scorsese and Hal Ashby and Hitchcock and Rafelson, all these great directors whose emphasis was on human behavior and flawed protagonists and entering the world of their visual journey. And by good fortune, directors have found me, and then when I've had the opportunity, I've also found them to work with people who are visionaries in that way, and I feel really blessed.
Is the story true that you spent one young summer going between sets? Like your mom or your dad was on a Hitchcock set,
yes.
Your mom was on a
on a Scorsese set, yeah, for my summer vacation. So I went back and forth, and shock of all shocks, at the end of that summer, I was 7½, I turned to my parents and said, I want to become an actress. I mean, I think if anybody ends up spending their summer on a Scorsese set and a Hitchcock set, they might be interested too. It was pretty lucky.
It's like learning to swim by throwing you in the deep end. You either hate water or you become an Olympian,
It's got to be one or the other.
But then you wanted to act before she was ready to let you, right?
Oh yeah, I got lucky by hearing Scorsese sort of jokingly say to my mom, because he had given me a little extra bit part in the movie, and I had to eat many ice cream cones because they did many takes, and he's like, oh, she's got stamina, you know, this girl should be an actress. You should be an actress. I was like, Mommy, you know, Martin Scorsese told me I should be an actress. You can't stop me from my destiny. I was very serious about acting at, you know, 8, 9, 10.
Sure.
But she made me study for a few years and said if I still was committed to it, we'd see. And I was quite diligent just because it's what I loved to do.
Right. And then both of you nominated for an Oscar at the same time, same film for Ramblin' Rose, which showed her, didn't you?
Oh, it was beautiful though. It was a very sweet thing to go with my grandma Mary to the Oscars with her daughter and granddaughter. It was a great memory.
Right. We talked about how on this film, on Inland Empire, that David Lynch would call you and say, I need you to be in a parking lot at 1 o'clock, drive yourself, there'll be no trailer or makeup there, right? And you found that refreshing from the big movies.
It was incredible. I mean, in two ways. You know, one, it's incredibly refreshing to work in a really passionate, committed way as a small tribe of people. You know, that's already amazing. But just practically speaking, to work in the way David worked with this specific camera, with a very small and intimate group of people, you're shooting all the time.
Right.
You're moving all the time. You've got 40 minutes of film to shoot instead of 10 minutes on a 35mm camera. And, you know, in a 12-hour workday, you're filming probably 10 hours, if not more, of your day. So it's just, it's so liberating.
That said, then, do you consider the big budget films a chore? Drudgery in any way, or do you revel in that side of the business as well?
I do in both. I mean, I love film and I love acting and I love the process of it however it comes, because that's my passion. David, on the other hand, I think does feel that is a chore. I mean, I think he's really committed to digital film now, because he just finds it exhausting to wait 2 hours to light and have to, just at the moment the actors are ready and the scene is perfect, you get one close-up and then you have to wait an hour to get the other close-up, instead of him holding the camera, getting the whole scene in about 20 minutes. because he was literally, he shot everything himself.
Shooting home movies.
Yeah.
With the craziest dad in existence. Another director, I hope I'm not getting too wonky talking film with you, but I love the process.
Fantastic.
And well, the film community just lost Robert Altman, and you had a chance to work with him. So how was his genius different than David's, or different than, you know, Spielberg or Alexander Payne?
It's, first of all, a tragic loss, as we all know, because he's one of the great men and husbands and fathers and friends, as well as a filmmaker. And I had the privilege of working with him and knowing he and his amazing wife. And he made everything a family, as David does. They're very paralleled in that way, that they want it to be a family, a community. How they're different is, I think, David's improvisational sense is in his visual sense. You know, how he creates the feeling, the mood. You know, he'll take an odd prop that he sees in a corner, or suddenly you're doing seemingly a traditional scene and there's a lumberjack sawing wood behind you, which you didn't expect. Whereas Bob Altman would take the script and throw it in the trash and say whatever you want. You know the character better than me.
Right.
David's very specific about the dialogue, but they both have that genius of just creating in the moment in different areas.
And I have to ask you just about life at home. You are married to a fine musician by the name of Ben Harper.
Yes.
And have been for a while, and 2 children.
Yeah.
And so, Laura Dern, this is my Oprah question. Can you have it all? Can you have it all as a woman in America?
Oprah Weir. Let me tell you right now. I sure hope so. You know, I was raised by 2 actor parents, and I know how complicated, and it always seemed complicated, artists together and crazy lives. And, you know, but my God, women are lucky. You know, it is so much easier now. Not that I'm not exhausted, as I told you. I told Ben I want a nap as my Christmas present. But, you know, you actually can go to work with kids and people accommodate, and you can make it all happen.
Do you do scenes for him, and does he play music that he's working on for you?
All the time.
Oh, that's
yes.
cool.
In fact, he doesn't like me to do scenes, but at night at dinner he's made to watch me do many monologues, mostly Shakespearean.
That's good.
And I do make him sing for me, but I don't act for him.
And in Inland Empire, are those freakishly large rabbits in suits or donkeys in suits, according to Ben Harper?
According to Ben Harper, I think he thinks they're rabbits too. I think we're all on the same page.
All right, you got to see the movie. It's indescribable
It really is.
for me. But there are giant rabbits in suits and dancing Polish prostitutes.
You actually can use your brain in this theater and just go and have a journey. It's not going to be anything else you'll experience in the movie theater.
That is the case. Ambivalence is the enemy of art, right? You love it or you hate it, but if you don't care, you've lost. Laura Dern, loved this, by the way. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
And you've got a couple more projects coming out, a Mike White film and a John Travolta period film, so hopefully you'll drop by and talk to us about that.
I love it. Thanks, Bill.
Much more information about Inland Empire and David Lynch in general at inlandempirecinema.com. Thanks for watching The Mix, everybody. See you next time.